Michigan, where Mr. Walberg is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for allowing me to wave on to the committee. And thanks to our chairman of the full committee for this new AV system. It's been a long time coming, but we're enjoying it today. I thank the committee for holding this important, and I believe it is an important hearing today, that we ought to be considering, because 9% of federal funding goes to K-12 schools, but 90% of our bureaucracy, regulatory environment goes to our K-12 schools. So we're having an impact. Our children's future is built on the education foundation they receive in their elementary and secondary school. Rightfully so. Education is not listed anywhere in our federal Constitution, and federal government should not dictate curriculum in schools. I'll say that very clearly. It is therefore the critical role of the state and local leaders to rigorously vet all curriculum in their schools, and parents have a right to know what their students are being taught so they can be partners in their child's education and ensure their child is in the best setting for them to thrive, even if it's a charter school. We have known for years that despite historic investments in education, buildings and other things, schools failing our next generation are prevalent. In Chicago, my hometown, 2 out of 3 students in 3rd through 8th grade cannot read proficiently. And when compared to other highly developed countries, the U.S. ranks 26th in math. The pandemic highlighted these deficiencies even further. Parents finally had a window into the indoctrination that was taking place, with teachers focusing on CRT that they were indoctrinated in the schools of education from which they gained their degrees, rather than reading, writing, and arithmetic. School staff were more concerned about their own pronouns rather than students understanding how to use a pronoun in a sentence. And perhaps most concerning, school districts and states saying to parents, quote, "You don't have a right to know what's happening to your child in school." This is wholly unacceptable, and why parents across the country have said enough is enough. Mr. Rowe, thank you for your efforts and your examples that it can be done. You mentioned that teaching critical race theory distracts from widespread academic underachievement. Could you elaborate on this a bit more and explain in your view the harm of teaching CRT to students, and again, confirm that there is CRT being taught in our local K-12 schools?
The point that Congressperson Hayes was mentioning was critical race theory as a legal concept. No, you won't hear that in 1st grade, but you will see practices such as learning walks where children are lined up in a horizontal line, and a teacher will say, take 2 steps forward if you're white, and take 3 steps backward if you're black. Or there will be different policies around state assessments if there are racial disparities in outcomes, and this ideology that racial disparities must equal racism or structural racism, so therefore let's eliminate objective assessments and standards. Those are the specific practices undergirded by the ideology driving critical race theory. So those things are very, very prevalent, and we all want to eliminate those kinds of practices, but then I come back to this point of choice. If you're a 22-year-old mom who has a 5-year-old kid and you want the best for your child, you don't have time to wait for all these magical improvements to occur. You want the ability to send your kid to a great school today. And so this conference, I think, is very, very important, and it has to be intertwined with the importance of school choice.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Dr. Atkins, congratulations on your show of success as well. I know you've spoken a lot about the role that social media plays in coarsening our civil discourse. How have you seen social media harm young people, especially when it comes to fostering values key to a self-governing society, such as civil dialogue and mutual understanding? I just finished reading The Anxious Generation. I agree with most all of what I read in there, and I'm shocked with what I've seen. But could you respond?
Sure. Well, social media incentivizes people often to think in terms of in-groups and out-groups, and often in binaries. There's like and dislike buttons, and there's no maybe-like buttons. Civil discourse is a human work that requires face-to-face interaction and and trust that's acquired in formal and informal settings, and that's one reason why we at Carolina are setting up a civil discourse community so that students can have those late-night dorm conversations. Again, getting to know one another face-to-face.
Thank you. My time has expired.